G'day all, it's Colin from PC TLC and thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be looking at installing Virtualbox and my setup, and we're going to set it up in a way that has all the USB support and shared folders as well. So shared folders maybe we do in a separate video, we'll see how we go. But first of all, I've already downloaded this. I'll just show you where to download Virtualbox. If you're on Ubuntu based, go to downloads and we will click on the Linux distributions, and depending upon which distribution you're on, I'm on 1804, which is Linux Mint 19. That'll be that one there. Click on that and then save file there and click OK. And then also I would advise you, if we go back to downloads and you download the Virtualbox extension pack, all supported platforms, click on that, and then also save file there. And that's pretty much it for downloading. So if we have a look in my downloads folder under apps and Virtualbox, I have the extension pack and I also have Virtualbox. So we're going to install that. So let's do that now. It's a .deb file, so it's just double clicking. And it requires the installation of one package. Details if you want to see it. That's the dependency there. So install package. We'll have to put in our password. That's the dependency it was showing us. Okay, so same version was already installed. I don't know what that's all about. So that should be it, should be installed. So let's have a look. Look in our menu and look for Virtualbox. Oracle Virtualbox, VM Virtualbox, there it is there. So let's open that up. Now the first thing we are going to do is we're going to go to File and Preferences. Go to Extensions, and we're going to navigate to where we downloaded our extension pack. So let's click on this folder here, Adds New Package, and mine's in Downloads and Apps and Virtualbox, and that's the extension pack there. Open that and click on Install. Scroll down and then I agree. Yep, I'm a speed reader. And I don't know what happened there. Don't know why the focus was taken away from the window there. It was a bit strange. And the extension pack, Oracle VM Virtualbox extension pack, was installed successfully. Okay, so that's our extension pack done. So now what we need to do is we need to add the user to the groups. Now normally when I do this in a terminal. So if I open up a terminal, now I'm going to show you the graphical way. Now, not all Linux distributions give you the convenience that Linux Mint Cinnamon does, which is we need to add yourself to the group, the Virtualbox shared folder group and the Virtualbox users. That's for USB support. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to show you the graphical way and also the terminal way, just in case you're on a distribution that doesn't have the graphical way that Linux Mint does, or Linux Mint Cinnamon. So I'm going to close this Virtualbox for now. So what we're going to do is we go to Users and Groups. I may even need to restart or log out, I'm not quite sure. So click on your name, go to groups. Now there should be a Virtualbox, there it is, vboxusers. Now I would have thought there was a vbox shared folder there as well, but there's not. Let's have a look. There's no shared folder. Okay, so that's interesting. So first of all, what we would do is, that's the vboxusers. Now that's not checked on. So what I would normally do here is sudo usermod -a space -G vboxusers, and your username in my case is Colin. Enter. Put in our password. Enter. Now I'd be interested to see whether that is checked on under the graphical environment. And there it is, it's checked on. So doing that is the same as ticking that box. So that's the way you do it both ways, is shown there in the command line and the graphical. So I would have thought there would be the VirtualBox shared folders as well, but it's not there. Should be vboxsf, but it's not there. Okay, so we can close that. So the next thing we're going to do is add ourselves into the group. We're going to add a group of VirtualBox shared folders. So that's what we'll do here. Sudo groupadd vboxsf for shared folders. Enter, and that's done. Now let's have a look under the graphical environment again to see whether now that the vbox shared folder is there. And I'm pretty sure it should be. There it is there, vboxsf. So that's what we've just done. We've just added that into that group. So sudo groupadd vboxsf, that wasn't there before. So now what you can do is you can tick that on right here and do that, and that gives you shared folder support. But I'm going to show you the command line way as well, which is very much similar to the previous one that we did, which is sudo usermod. So this one here will be the same as, if we arrow up gives you the previous command, and we'll keep going until we get to the vboxusers. So it's going to be all exactly the same, except vboxusers will be vboxsf. That's the only difference, and we press enter on that, and that's done. So what we should see in this list here is the vboxsf is ticked on, which it is. So you can just tick it on. But looking at this, you still need to add it in the command line. You still need to add the group. So that's a bit disappointing. I thought there would have been another way of doing that. Then again, if we had have logged out or restarted, that vboxsf may have shown up anyway. So I'm not quite sure about that. So that's one thing you could try. Once you install VirtualBox, you could restart, and that may show up in the groups. I'm not 100% sure about that. So that's that done. So what we can do now is we open VirtualBox, and we need to create a new virtual machine. Now I'm going to have a look at what I've got here as far as ISOs go. I should have plenty there. I've got Peppermint 9, that's the one I want to use. So if we was to go new, call it Peppermint 9. It's Linux and it's Ubuntu 64-bit, so it's Ubuntu based, so it already knows that. I've got 32 gigs of RAM here, so I'm just going to give it 8. That's more than enough. And just go create, next, and dynamically allocated, yes. And we'll give it maybe 12 gigs, should be more than enough. Now, we go into settings, and if there was more machines here, you would have to click on the one you want to do the settings for. In this case, is only one. Click on the settings bar. System is that's fine. Display, we need to up that. Enable 3D acceleration. Although I've had a couple of issues with Peppermint on another machine, wasn't booting, had a fuzzy picture. And then I had to turn this off and turn it back on, mucked around, eventually got it going. Don't exactly know what that problem was, and I don't know exactly what I did to get it going, so I don't know. Persistence maybe, just keep going. That's all I can think of. And then we have to go to the storage and click on the empty disk here, and then we add disk, so we can do that later. Audio should be fine, and I always put this on bridged adapter. I believe that's the better one. If one of those other choices are better, please let me know, but that's the one I normally do. That should be fine. Now USB, I have USB 3. Now if we right click here and add filter from device, you will see that there are no devices available. Now, we have added USB support, but we haven't restarted. So that's the problem. So in this case, let's just cancel that. We've created our machine. We don't need to do anything else at this point. We can close the virtual machine, and I'm going to restart my system, and I'll be back after that. And to continue this. Okay, so we have restarted. I will start up the Virtualbox again. Now let's just have a quick look in settings again and see what's going on here. We go to USB, right click and add filter from device. Now you can see we've got these options here. Now I don't think I have anything plugged in yet that's any use to me right now. So, and the reason that that's there is because number one, we rebooted, but also we added ourselves to the Virtualbox, the vbox users group, and if you don't do that, you don't get those options. So let's just have another quick look at that. It was the vbox users. And the vbox shared vboxsf is the shared folder. So that SF, when you make a shared folder, and we are going to create one, when you do create a shared folder, it'll always be SF underscore and the name of your shared folder. So, but there's something you need to do with the guest operating system, especially Linux, to get that shared folder going. So we're going to have a look at that as well. So okay, so that's the reason why that's showing up. Now what I'm going to do is I might just plug in my USB just to show you that that shows up. So I'll just plug that in. So there it is there. So currently it's available in the host operating system, which is my normal operating system. So you can see that my data is available there. And if we go into settings, USB, it'll also be available here. There it is there. Now, when you're in a VirtualBox and you select the USB in the VirtualBox, it won't be available in this host system because it'll be taken up by the VirtualBox. So just remember that. So we've got our settings done. So what we need to do now is go to storage, and we'll choose our ISO, which will be in my downloads ISO, and I'll choose, in this case, Peppermint. And there's a good reason why I'm choosing Peppermint, because there's a few things that they don't have in there when it comes to support for when it comes to supporting the guest editions. So I'm going to show you how that works. Some distros just don't have everything that's needed for guest editions out of the box. So we'll have a look at that. So let's click OK. We won't worry about shared folders at the moment. We'll just get this installed. So let's start up the VirtualBox, and hopefully this is just a message telling you about the auto capture keyboard. So you have the auto capture keyboard caption turned on. This will cause the virtual machine to automatically capture the keyboard. Yep, okay. And the right control key is your control. So we'll just go capture. I should have said don't remind me, which is lost me mouse there. So let's see what happens with this VM. Hopefully it starts up. So it started up, so there's no problems. I thought I might have had some issues there. So that's a good sign. So let's install this. I'm not going to worry about updates or anything like that. Not even going to worry about that. All third-party software and stuff, because it's just a VM. I'm just using this as an example for now. So we'll erase disk and install Peppermint. Continue. Perth, yep. We'll just go CB, CB VirtualBox, well, actually I better do, because I'll type that anyway. That's what'll happen, and I'll have to muck around. Colin VirtualBox, Colin's a username. Let's stick with that, and password. Let's try that. Make it easy password for this example here. Okay, so installation is finished. We shall restart. Now, just one thing on the VirtualBox, when you see, let's have a look here. So when you see something like under view, we go to scale mode, host and C. Your host button in most cases is the right control button. So if I hit the right control button and the letter C, that'll go to scale mode. Well, actually, let's have a look. And it tells you here to switch back to Windows mode anytime, press host and C. So, okay, we'll switch. And then Control C, the right control plus C, brings you back again. So let's restart that. All right, so we have oh, I did it, didn't I? I knew I'd do that. Okay, so we have full screen. Rightio, so that's a good thing. So now before we do any shared folders or anything, we need to install the guest additions. So we go to devices, insert guest additions. So that's done. Now nothing's happened. Now what we do is we go to the folder and you'll see under devices, you got a vbox here. So what you need to do is this open auto run prompt. So click on that and that'll auto run the guest additions like so. You put in your password. Oops, it's always going to put the wrong one again. All right, what it's saying here is, if we can read it, so what's happening here is the system is currently not set up to build kernel modules. It says here, please install the GCC, the make and the Perl packages. So just read what it says there. Please install the GCC, the make and the Perl. So press return to close this window. So press the enter key. So what we need to do there is we need to open a terminal here in the guest OS. Sudo install make GCC and Perl. Press enter. Password. Oh, did I get that wrong? Let's try that again. I must have read it wrong. Oops. Devices and oh no, it's already. I'm going to go back to click the wrong one. Auto run prompt. What did I get wrong there? Let me read it again. I'm sure that was right. And I put the wrong password. Let me read that again. Perl. Leave that open while you do this. Install, and let's just read that. GCC make Perl. Let's try that again and do it right. Sudo apt sudo apt install. Gee, what am I doing? GCC make Perl. It's a bit late in the night, I think. Okay, sudo apt install and yes and enter. Okay. Gee, I do some silly things sometimes, especially when I'm concentrating on making a video. Okay, so that's done. So the other thing you can do, if you go to the menu and type in Synaptic, and we open Synaptic Package Manager, if we do a search for make, and you can see there that make is there. If you right click and mark for installation, that's grayed out because it's already installed. We just installed it with the terminal. And then if we did a search for GCC, there's GCC, that would be the same thing. And also Perl. And there's Perl, you'd right click and mark for installation as well. So your search results might not come up as quick as that because I've already had it open. So close it and open it again. I think it searches quicker once you've tried once, I think. So that's how you would do that in Synaptic. That's more of a graphical user interface, more of a GUI way of doing it. And the Synaptic Package Manager is a middle ground between terminal and your software manager. So this thing has all the software that you would find in the software manager, and also has all those little dependencies that you need to install in the terminal. On some cases you can find them in here. So if you don't like using the terminal, this is your best option. So that's how you'd go about that. So and that's the reason why I did Peppermint, for that reason. So most distros you could probably auto prompt, just click that button and it'll run and it'll install, but it's very important that you read what comes up in that terminal shell for the install of the VBox guest editions, just in case it didn't install, because that's happened to me before. I've just gone ahead and done that, press enter to close the terminal, and thought that everything was rosy, and worked out that it didn't even install. So so you got to be careful that you read it and make sure that it's actually installed. So that's done. So we now have the guest editions. No, we don't. Sorry, we don't have the guest editions installed yet. So let's try that again. So auto prompt, run that, password. So let's see how we go now. So now you can see it's taking a little while, so that's actually installing correctly. VirtualBox guest edition starting, so that's done. Press return to close this window, and that's done. So VirtualBox guest editions are installed. So what we need to do now is shut the guest operating system down. Now that that's installed, shut down. And then we can start that back up. Oh, I did it again, didn't I? That's what happens when I choose a different password. Okay, so if we go view and full screen mode, and host F, so to turn off full screen, which is the right control button and F, that's how that works. So we switch that, and now we are in full screen, although we're not totally full screen. I don't know why. Why is that? Oh no, okay, so I can't turn that full screen off, and I don't know why not. Haven't got my menu available either, so I don't know what's going on there. So I'm going to shut that down. Start again. Did it again with the password. I'm so used to putting my password in. Okay, so now we have full screen. Proper full screen, but still no menu. Okay, that's now working there. There we go. But I've still got no menu. Where's my menu? No menu. Okay, that's really weird. Okay, so yes, I found my menu. It's on my other screen. So I haven't seen that before. All right, so my menu's on the other screen. That's really weird. All right, so my menu's there. Okay, so I just can't show you that at the moment. I don't know why the menu's gone to my other screen. That's really weird. So that's just acting up a bit with the two screens connected. So, all right, so that's all working good. Just don't know why it's doing that. Let's just shut that down and have a quick look at some settings. I'm just trying to see if I can find a setting for that. We haven't got 3D acceleration enabled. That's probably why. I thought I did that. That's probably why it started up, because it wasn't enabled. So the guest editions are there. We can remove that now. Remove disk. Okay, so let's see if we get a better result from with having the 3D acceleration on. Okay, so that looks like it's not going to stretch out. So let's do it again. And there's my menu there. Okay, now it's here. So 3D acceleration was the problem there. So now you can see my menu. I can drop that down and go back to my host machine, or click that back on to this one here, or I can close it down. Or you can go, if you're having problems, you can go close and power off machine. Cancel that. And we have the VirtualBox machine working the way we expect it to, so that's good. So now we're going to be having a look at VirtualBox shared folders. So let's have a look at that. So we'll start up our Peppermint 9, and just so you know, in the first video I had issues with my menu in full screen. It was on the other screen and I couldn't get full screen menu. I had changed this setting and this setting to what it is now, but I cancelled out of there, so the setting didn't stick because of that reason. So just make sure, even if you want to finish go out of something, just make sure if you want your settings to stay, click OK. So now what we're going to do here in the settings is we're going to go to shared folders. Actually, sorry. First of all, what we're going to do is in my home folder, I'm going to make a folder called Virtual Share. So let's call it that. So that's my virtual share in the home folder, this one here. So that's done. Okay, so we go to settings, shared folders, add the shared folder, and we're going to go to other and virtual share and choose that. And I'm going to choose the auto mount. I think, well, actually, I'm not sure whether I should do that now or later. I think actually I might do it. Well, actually, no, I'll auto mount it and I'll show you what happens. And under USB, right click, add filter from device and add a data USB. I don't know if we need to have 3 checked on, but I'll do that. Okay, let's start the VirtualBox. And let's not show me that again. Okay, so my menu is on the other screen. For some reason it seems to sometimes want to be on this screen and sometimes on the other screen. Okay, so what we're going to look at here, we've auto mounted our shared folder. There's our shared folder. Click on that and the contents could not be displayed. You do not have the permissions necessary to view the contents of the shared folder virtual share. So we added the vboxsf, and now the sf becomes underscore with the name of your shared folder. So what we need to do here, and let me check my notes. I must check my notes. I cannot remember all this off the top of my head, getting too old. Okay, so what we need to do is start up our terminal in the guest operating system, and we need to sudo usermod -G vboxsf -a and your username in the guest operating system. So put in our password. Okay, now that's done. Let's close that terminal and we need to shut down the VM and restart. So we'll just reboot that. So now what we should have is we should have access to our shared folder, which we do. So if we drop this virtual machine down, minimize that with the on the menu that's on the other screen there. And what I'm going to do is, just as an example, I'm going to, or this PNG, that's cut that into the virtual share folder, virtual share, and paste. Now under the VirtualBox machine, if we go out of that and click back in it, now we have that. That item is now available in the virtual machine because we're now sharing folders, and we can cut that and put it into pictures on the virtual machine. Paste that, and there we go. So now we have virtual folder support, and also we are looking directly at my USB. So we've got direct USB pass-through as well. So we can take anything off this USB. Apps, for example, if I was to put Etcher in there, copy that to documents or downloads, paste that. Now you've got Etcher available on your virtual machine. So we have the two folders, shared folders, and USB. So it's as simple as that. It's just a little command there in the guest operating system to make sure that you've got full support for shared folders, and, well, shared folders mainly. The USB was happening once we did that in the host, so that's not a problem. So that is shared folder support, Linux to Linux, in VirtualBox. And that's worked out quite well. And now I've got my USB back on the host machine because the guest machine has been shut down. Like I said, that's not available when it's connected to the guest machine. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it very informative, and thank you for watching.